Hello and welcome back to the Dugout. I am your host, Jordan Millington, and today it's going to be a little bit off the cuff, this episode, but I kind of wanted to go over what makes a coach good, or what makes a successful coach. And this can be a coach on all different levels, but for today I'm going to really focus on how to be a successful youth coach, in my own opinion. Now, what I think is the most important part of being a successful coach in the youth spectrum is to be there for the player. Have the individual player, at the forefront of your mind. So whether it's an academy coaching, team coaching, or even one-on-one coaching or any sort of thing, you have to design your sessions. You have to think of what to get out of the session with the player at the front of everything, regardless of what your session looks like or what it'll impact on the weekend if you have games. The most important thing is you need to have the player first and foremost. That's the most important thing to impact. How does this impact them physically? How can they recover from the session? Is their brain being stimulated well enough? Like, are they being asked to do things that will help them grow and challenge them and make them better? And is this session that you're creating the right level for the player? Is it too hard? Is it too easy? Is this going to be enough for them? These are the types of things that must be going through your mind in order to, help the player first and foremost. And also making sure the player has fun and enjoys themselves, because there's no learning done when you're just having a terrible time. You need to be able to support them in every way, emotionally, physically, and just understanding that way. The second most important thing, I'll go through three things, but the second most important thing to being a very, very successful coach is organization and the way you conduct your sessions. Now, I was told from a very young age, from probably about 15, 16, when I started taking coaching courses, is that whatever's happening in your life doesn't matter. Whatever personal problems you're going through at the time, when you go and coach, you care about the player more than them. Your organization, your thoughts, everything needs to be focused on that session, because a player will come from school and they'll have a bad day, and you are there to bring them up and to make them better, make them feel better, and to give them an experience that they're going to come away positively from. And in order to do that, you need to be organized. You need to have your sessions laid out, prepared for. And there's times where you're going to have to make up something on the spot. You just have to think on the spot. All good coaches do that, but being able to be successful at making things up on the spot comes from preparing things from previous areas. Like, if you have extra time to get to your sessions early, you should you will learn how to plan sessions if you do it early enough. And then when those times come where you have to think on your feet, or players bow out, or they can't come to practice all of a sudden, that's when you can pivot really, really well and keep the session organized and flowing. Because as soon as you have to stop and change something, it throws off the flow and you won't have the best session. And the flip side of that, you have to be mentally prepared to come to the session. So like I said before, if you're not having a good day, this is your time to block out everything and just focus on what matters. And that's the kids, that's the players. You have to be able to tune out everything else and deliver a session and use it as a distraction from your life. And there are days where you do not feel like coaching, you do not have energy. And so those are the days where you really gotta take a minute outside in your car before you go in and make sure that the players get your best effort, not just some half-baked effort that, oh, I tried my best type of thing. You need to be able to turn a switch in your mind to be able to focus on them. And I promise you, as you do this, you will see the benefits. Like, there's been countless times where I haven't been mentally ready. Like, very transparent. There's been many times where I haven't been ready. Like, even recently, like, there's been like a lot of high stress in my life, but I've made sure that it doesn't impact my coaching. And then I make sure that regardless of what's going on in my personal life, that I make sure that the players get the best out of me. And I think that can also be the most important one, but making sure that you are fit to coach the players comes above absolutely everything else. And so lastly, I would say the third point, what makes a coach able to be successful, is to be humble and to accept criticism. And for a lot of coaches, this is their Achilles heel. This is their kryptonite. They look at their Pep Guardiolas, you look at your Jose Mourinhos, and you see them as these perfect beings. And you look at a session that a professional coach takes on Instagram or YouTube, and you're like, I'm doing that. That's the way I want to do it. And you try and just beat that into your players without understanding what they need. Or you get criticism from, an academy lead, or even a player or a parent, and you look at that and you're like, no, I'm the coach. Whatever I say is right. And there's the famous saying, do as I say, not as I do, and coaches. But and we like to joke about that. But honestly, being able to take criticism, regardless of who it's from, and that's the part that really gets to people, is if they take advice from an equal or like a player or someone. Not saying a player is unequal, but obviously there's a power imbalance. If they take advice from someone else, they really think that they're not good at what they do, when in fact it's the opposite. If you're able to take feedback from anyone else, regardless if it's, a technical director, a phase lead, or a player, if you're able to take that feedback and make your sessions better, wouldn't your sessions benefit from that? Like, if that's genuinely positive feedback, saying like sometimes the players will say at the end of the day, like, oh, can we scrimmage? Can we have a game? And obviously, those who know me know I love to have games at the end of my sessions, just because not only as a reward, but it obviously helps the players translate skills into games. But there was a time where I wouldn't always have a game at the end of my sessions, and I could tell that the players would go away, there'd be something missing from that session, or they would be upset, not that practice was over, but because they weren't able to play and enjoy themselves in a different way. Or if it's how a certain passing pattern isn't working and they give impact, you have to be humble enough to understand that these players, they're smarter than you think. They understand when something's not working or if it is working. And to be able to be humble enough to accept that is huge in coaching. We look at all these top managers that have these huge egos, and it's completely fine to have an ego, but you can't let your ego get in the way of your own growth as a coach. And if you're coaching youth teams, as most of those listening are, you're not a professional coach. You're here for a reason. And unless you can take criticism and adapt that positively into your sessions, into how you coach, into how you carry yourself, you will not get anywhere in this line of work. And that's why I make sure for myself, not that I'm perfect, but that if there's feedback, I sincerely listen to that feedback or ask for it regularly. I go on coaching courses and I make sure that I do things properly, or if I don't think I did this right, how can I do this better? How could I have said that better? Do my players understand what I'm doing? And that's a great time at the end of your sessions to have a debrief. I have a video on Instagram that talks about 5 keys to how to run a session. And at the end of it, it's have a debrief. It's ask your players, okay, what did we like about that session? Or check for understanding and then say, did we like this? Or what was your favorite part of it? That way you can see what the players feel about it or what they take away from it. And then your next session theoretically is better because you can work out the kinks and make things positively better. And then they're going to enjoy the session and they're going to take in more information from that own session. So all in all, recap 1 to 3. The first one that we really should be focused on is how you come to the session, how you arrive, how you carry yourself. Then we want to look at organization. How are you setting yourself up? The first one was player first. Player first always. Second one, organization, how you carry yourself. Thirdly, taking feedback and accepting criticism to make your sessions better. I challenge anyone, follow those 3, and if you're not a better coach, after like a month or even a week of doing that, then I don't know what I'm doing. Because honestly, if you take those three, if you put the player first, if you come organized and focused, and you take criticism and feedback and make it a positive shift into your coaching, then I don't know what I'm doing. So I challenge those who are listening, and this also can apply to other parts in life, but put the player first, be organized, and take criticism, and you will be a better coach. That is a Jordan Millington guarantee. So, thanks for tuning in. I know it's a short one. I have to go to work, but I hope that you learned something from this, and I hope that you can take something on and try it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, comment down below wherever this is posted, subscribe, follow, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers.